G'day, this is Fish on a Heater with Tournament Takeaway, where we take a look at an individual battle within a Sylph Arena tournament, take a look at how we got here, what went well and what didn't go so well, just work out what we can take into future battles and learn from it, build our ranking, become better. Just a quick explanation, or not an explanation really. I've got to point out that I don't have my usual white background behind me. It's such a long story, so I'm not going to go into it completely. But yeah, I'm in just kind of like a bare basics house at the moment. All I've got electricity, which I think just stuttered there. I've got running water, a shower, toilet, a few shelves. I'm sleeping on an air mattress at the moment, so yeah, I've got the daggy old high school jumper on. I haven't shaven in I've probably gone longer without shaving. Definitely gone longer without shaving, so that's probably not as big a deal. But yeah, that's just a current rundown of the situation right now, and explains why you're seeing something a little bit different to normal. Anyway, let's get into the battles. Today we are looking at a battle with a guy called PGR Overseer, who is a mod in the Patreon Discord of a Pokemon Go podcast I listen to called PGR Pokemon Go Radio. It's such a funny podcast. Like the two guys that run that show they're like hanging out with your tipsy mates at a house party or at the pub, and they're both kind of talking smack about how good they are at battling, or just how good they are as Pokemon Go trainers, and they're kind of cashing checks with their mouths that they can't really cash. But, yeah, if you are a fan of Pokemon Go, and I assume you are, if you're watching this video, either you are a fan of Pokemon Go or you like my Australian accent. It could be both, I don't know. Listen to that show. Hopefully that was in some way a good plug for that, and hopefully that that might even deter listeners from that. That people might hear that and go, it sounds like not my thing. But don't listen to me. Whatever you do, don't listen to me. All right, let's get into the battle. Yes, this is me and PGR Overseer in a Sylph Voyager tournament. Voyager Cup. This was the second to last of 6 rounds. And we led with the Marowak versus the Shiftry. This is battle 3 as well, so we were 1-1. I had won the first one and just lost the second one. I was feeling pretty confident. Even going into this matchup here, the Marowak versus the Shiftry, with 2 shields, Marowak can do just fine here. That Fire Spin really takes down that Shiftry. So I stayed in this, opted to burn a shield. I'll make comments on some of these decisions kind of after we've looked through the battle once. So gets to another foul play, which I shield again. And I had the switch window up, kind of preparing to counter switch just in case PGR Overseer decided to switch themselves. Now comes a Stunfisk, which I was really looking into Stunfisk for Voyager, but decided against it just because having that plus an Azumarill made it very weak to grass. Or Lantern. I was also looking at Lantern at the time. So throws one Mud Bomb, then decides to bring out the Skarmory, and I quickly counter switch to a Azumarill. And here I bring out the Hydro Pump, because now we are both shieldless. This Sky Attack just doesn't feint me, so I managed to get to another Ice Beam, and that feints the Skarmory. And then out comes Stunfisk, which takes out the last of the Azumarill. But luckily for me, I've still got Venusaur there, and a Mud Bomb is not enough. I take it out with the Frenzy Plant. So there are a couple of things. I won that one, and I ended up going 5-1 in that tournament and equal 1, which was fantastic because my Voyager Cup was terrible. I dropped my win ratio went from like almost 60% down to like just over 57%. I dropped twice. Twice I got to Ace tier, and twice I dropped down to Challenger again. It's so yeah, it was not a good month, and I'm at Challenger now as of this recording. But there are a couple of things I want to look at in this video. The first is this matchup with the Shiftry versus the Marowak. And just basically, was it a good decision? So it's obviously a very dangerous thing to burn both of your shields on the opening matchup, and I think the reason that I did opt to burn my second shield is because the Shiftry burned one shield there, right? I don't want to go into the rest of a battle at a 2-0 shield disadvantage, so if that Shiftry didn't fall for the shield bait, that Bone Club would not have fainted the Shiftry, right? Shadow Ball would have, Bone Club would not have. So if that Bone Club had gone through, I probably very likely would have switched out of the Marowak to try and conserve it for later, essentially. Because yeah, I don't want to have to make a decision between losing my Marowak and losing a whole bunch of energy, or using a second shield and going into the rest of the battle at a 2-0 shield disadvantage. So that was the reason why I burned that second shield there, and thankfully that shield bait worked as well. So I managed to burn a shield, and I've got half of a Marowak with a lot of energy now. At this point, I wish I could remember why I didn't think my opponent would bring Meganium. It would have had something to do with the other two battles we'd had, because at this point I was fine losing that Marowak. I had a whole bunch of energy saved up, and I kind of unleashed all that. Managed to get rid of the second shield on the Stunfisk, so now we're at 0-0 shields. My opponent, I'm in a very, very good position here, because my opponent has half of a Stunfisk and a mystery remaining Pokemon. I have the Venusaur and a Azumarill. Now, unless my opponent has brought... Oh, yeah, of course. I didn't think my opponent would bring Meganium because I'd already seen the Shiftry. Now, it is a pretty... Thanks to Caleb Peng, it is pretty popular now to bring Double Grass to a matchup. I've done it myself a bunch of times, and specifically that Meganium Shiftry combo, but now it's all coming back to me. In the first battle of our set of 3, my opponent did try that, and it didn't work. I basically I wrecked that particular matchup, so wrecked him in that particular battle. So I didn't think that he would try the double grass thing again, which meant that I was in a darn good position, because my Venusaur could take out the Stunfisk quite easily, and Azumarill only really at that point fears Meganium, which I don't think is going to be seen. So I'm looking really good now. Bring out the Venusaur and prepare to counter switch. Bring out that switch window and bam, as soon as I see the switch, I don't even think about it. I just bring out the Azumarill. Because even if it is Meganium, it doesn't hurt to try and... like, that Azumarill is not going to be handy at all at that point. So there's the Hydro Pump. Yeah, so to explain that, like, if the remaining two Pokemon were the Stunfisk and the Meganium, then it's not even any point trying to, you know, bring that Azumarill in at a time when it's going to be more helpful. Like, it's not going to be. Like, both the Meganium wrecks the Azumarill, and the Stunfisk is probably going to beat it in a 0-0 shield situation. Maybe I probably would have gotten to an Ice Beam quick enough to take out the rest of the Stunfisk, but it's very little disadvantage to just switching in the Azumarill blind. And so here is the other big thing that I want to talk about. After the battle, Overseer mentioned to me that he had missed a couple of those flying targets, and we all know how much we hate the flying charge move animation, and only gotten a great rather than an excellent. And he was saying that he thinks he would have flipped the matchup. I don't think he would have, because I think I had, like, that Skarmory was on such low health that the Venusaur, I think, would have taken out the Skarmory before it could get to another Sky Attack. The Venusaur had like a decent chunk of health left, and the Skarmory was just so low that I think even Vine Whips, even though they're double resisted, I think that would have been enough to take it out. So, because the Skarmory leaving the Azu conscious gets hit by an Ice Beam, gets taken out, and now it's just Venusaur versus Stunfisk. And even though the Stunfisk does get to another Mud Bomb, takes out only half of the remaining health, I get to a Frenzy Plant, and done. So let's take a look at this. So here we've got PV Poke, the Azumarill versus the Skarmory. Now, I wanted to be very, very thorough with this, right? I even got out a ruler, okay, and I measured the HP bars on each of our Pokemon, and then like how much of that was the remaining HP, right? I measured it to the millimeter, and for anyone who is watching this in America, a millimeter is about a 25th of an inch. So very, very fine measurements there. And I determined, just for the sake of being absolutely thorough, that these were the figures here. So the Azumarill has 66 HP, 33 energy left, and the Skarmory has 14 HP and 45 energy. So let's see how that goes, and that is still not doing it. The Sky Attack gets me down to 14 HP, and then the Skarmory gets off one more Air Slash before I get to that Ice Beam. Now that is at full charge. What difference did it make just going the great rather than the excellent? So that's 95% charge. When you miss two targets, I believe that's what's happening. Or it could be 75. So if it's 75. Actually, I'd be keen to know that if anyone is watching, like missing 2 targets, exactly 2 targets, and getting a great there, is that equal to 95%, or is that 75%? Maybe 95% is if you only miss 1 bubble. You're still getting an excellent, but it's not 100%. Maybe. But so worst case scenario is this is 75% damage. I'm still getting out of there with 21 HP left, right? Best case scenario for Overseer, is we're going 100% charge, and I have 8 HP left. What I didn't think of is this is using Pokemon of a particular rank. So let's work out my exact Azumarill, which is okay. So that's the there we go. 15, 12, 12. So let's adjust that. $15, $12, $12, and we've got to bring it down to level 37. Level 37. And again, same HP and energy, and updating it. It looks like still shouldn't be that much health. Hang on. It's 66 HP. There we go. Okay. And it's exactly the same. So I'm still leaving with 8 HP, where no matter what the IVs were there. So it wouldn't have fainted the Azumarill even if you had gotten, if you're watching this, Justin, I'm pretty sure your name is, if you're watching this, rest assured, it might make you feel better, it might make you feel worse. Even if you had gotten those last 2 bubbles, you would not have fainted the Azumarill. And just to make it even more thorough, I've got here Venusaur versus Skarmory. So this is assuming that the Skarmory does manage to take out the Azumarill. So then I've now got my Venusaur, which again I measured it to the millimeter, had 71 HP and 32 energy. I actually think it was 1 more Vine Whip worth, so 40 energy, but we're gonna just play with kind of the worst case scenario for me. PGR Overseer has used all of his energy at that point, still got 14 energy left. What happens there? The Venusaur wins, gets to a Frenzy Plant, can only get off 1 Air Slash there before I get to the Frenzy Plant. And let's see what difference that makes if I don't have charge moves. I still would have won by pretty much 1 fast move. Yes, the Skarmory is 1 fast move away from getting to that other Sky Attack, and the Air Slashes aren't enough to take the Venusaur out at that stage. So, he was saying to me at the time that, like, oh, that's gonna bug me, like, oh, if I'd just done that 1 extra bubble, or the 2 extra bubbles, then it might have flipped the match. Hopefully this makes you feel better. You were screwed either way. Hopefully that was helpful. This was a modified tournament takeaway with Fish on a Heater. Hope to see you next time, where by then you will have gone to the next tier, built that ranking up even higher. See you next week.